February 2024, Dubai, the city of golden skyscrapers and impossible promises. It was here that Samir Hoffman, a 45-year-old German businessman, believed he had found the love of his life. Yasmin was 22 years old, with hair as black as the desert night and a smile that promised new beginnings. She was Moroccan from Casablanca and had arrived in Dubai just 8 months earlier, working as a sales assistant in a luxury store in the Dubai Mall. What Samir didn't know, what no one could have imagined, was that the woman he had just married kept secrets capable of destroying much more than a marriage. Secrets that would cost her her life and turn Samir's honeymoon into an investigative nightmare that would span 3 countries and reveal a web of lies as complex as it was terrible. But let's start at the beginning, from the moment when everything still seemed perfect. The encounter. Samir Hoffman was not a naive man. Divorced for 6 years, father of 2 teenage children who lived with their mother in Munich, he had built a solid life as a consultant for technology companies. He traveled constantly throughout the Middle East, knew the dangers of deceptive appearances, and kept his personal relationships under strict control, or at least that's what he thought. It was in June 2023, during one of his business trips to Dubai, that he met Yasmin. He was buying a gift for his daughter, an expensive Italian handbag, something to make up for yet another absence on her birthday, when she approached him to help. "Are you looking for something special?" she asked in English, with an accent that charmingly mixed Arabic and French. Samir remembers that moment perfectly. She was wearing the store's elegant uniform, but there was something different about her. It wasn't just her beauty. Dubai was full of beautiful women. It was the way she spoke, the intelligence in her eyes, the way she switched between 3 languages with natural ease, Arabic with her colleagues, French on the phone, English with customers. "For my daughter," Samir replied. "She's turning 17. I have no idea what teenagers want these days." Yasmin smiled. A genuine smile, not the professional salesperson's smile. 17 is a difficult age. She wants to be treated like an adult, but she still needs to know that her father cares. "Let me show you something that's not too obvious, but that she'll love." And that's how it began. Samir returned to the store 3 days later, then a week later, always finding excuses. Perfume for his secretary, a watch for a client, a wallet for himself that he didn't need. Yasmin was always there, always kind, always with that smile that seemed to light up the room. It took 4 visits before he had the courage to ask her out for coffee. To his surprise, she accepted immediately. "I was waiting for you to ask," she said with a frankness that completely disarmed him. "I thought it would never happen." Yasmin's story. During that first coffee in a cafe overlooking the Burj Khalifa, Yasmin told her story, or at least the version she wanted Samir to know. She had grown up in Casablanca in a traditional Moroccan family. A strict father, a submissive mother, 4 older brothers who controlled her every move. At 18, she was studying economics at university, dreaming of freedom, of seeing the world beyond the narrow streets of her hometown. "My family wanted me to marry a cousin," she explained, her eyes darkening at the memory. "A 40-year-old man with 2 wives already. They said it was an honor. I knew it would be a prison." So, at 20, she ran away. She got a work visa for the United Arab Emirates through a recruitment agency. She left everything behind, family, friends, the life she knew, for a chance at freedom. "It was the hardest decision of my life," she said, and Samir saw genuine tears in her eyes. "My mother no longer speaks to me. My brothers consider me dead. But it was either that or live a lie forever." Samir felt an immediate connection. He, too, knew the feeling of breaking with expectations, of choosing a different path. His own divorce had cost him his relationship with his parents, who never accepted that he had left a good Catholic wife because he wasn't happy. "Sometimes," he said, taking her hand for the first time, Making the right choice means losing people we love. Yasmin squeezed his hand back. You understand, she whispered. Most people don't. The romance that seemed perfect. The following months were like a dream. Samir began to extend his trips to Dubai, staying a week at a time where he would have previously stayed 3 days. When he was in Munich, he called Yasmin every day, conversations that lasted for hours, crossing time zones and cultural differences with an ease that seemed magical. Yasmin was everything he didn't know he was looking for. Intelligent, but not arrogant. Beautiful, but not overly vain. Independent, but not distant. She spoke about her dreams with contagious passion. She wanted to study fashion design, open her own studio someday, create clothes that blended Moroccan tradition with modernity. But first I need to save money, she explained. The salary at the store is good, but Dubai is expensive. I live with 3 other girls in a small apartment in Deira. I save every dirham. Samir admired her determination. She never asked him for anything. She never hinted that he should help her financially. When he offered to pay for dinner at expensive restaurants, she insisted on splitting the bill, even when it was clearly a sacrifice for her. I don't want you to think I'm with you for the money, she said one night, with a seriousness that touched Samir's heart. I've seen many girls here do that. I'm not like that. I want to build something real. It was precisely this attitude that convinced Samir that she was different, that what they felt was genuine. In November 2023, 6 months after they met, Samir proposed to her. It was during dinner at Atmosphere on the 122nd floor of the Burj Khalifa, the highest restaurant in the world. He had planned everything meticulously. The ring, the words, even bribing the violinist to play a Moroccan song that Yasmin loved. When he got down on one knee, with the entire city sparkling at their feet, Yasmin began to cry. Not delicate tears like in a romantic movie, but deep sobs that shook her entire body. Yes, she managed to say through her tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. You saved me, Samir. You gave me a family again. Samir embraced her, feeling like the luckiest man in the world. How could he have known that those tears were tears of guilt? That her "you saved me" had a much darker meaning than he could have imagined. The signs he ignored. Looking back, Samir can identify the strange moments. The small warning signs he chose to ignore because he was in love, because he wanted to believe, because the story she told was exactly what he wanted to hear. There was, for example, the issue of the phone. Yasmin always kept her cell phone face down. When she received messages, she checked them quickly and deleted them immediately. Just spam, she explained. These marketing agencies here are terrible. There were also her inconsistent work schedules. Sometimes she said she was working late, but when Samir stopped by the store, she wasn't there. They changed my shift, she explained. The manager is very disorganized. And then there were the mysterious trips. Twice, Yasmin had to return urgently to Morocco. My mother is sick, she said the first time. My brother had an accident the second, but she never had any photos, never gave any details, and quickly changed the subject when Samir asked. But he ignored all that, because she was perfect in every other way, because the sex was incredible, because she said "I love you" with a conviction that melted all his doubts, because at 45, divorced and lonely, he was afraid to question too much and lose the second chance life was offering him. Love makes us blind, he would later tell the police. It's not that I didn't see the signs, it's that I chose not to see them. The wedding was set for February 2024. Samir wanted something big in Munich, to introduce Yasmin to his children, to do things the traditional German way. But Yasmin insisted on Dubai. I can't go back to Morocco to get married, she explained. My family still hasn't forgiven me, and going to Germany, it's too soon. Your children need time to accept me. Dubai is neutral. It's where we met. It's our place. Samir agreed, despite his reservations. His children, Lucas and Emma, were not happy. "You barely know her, Dad," said Lucas, the eldest, age 16. "And she's too young, it's weird." "When you meet her, you'll understand," Samir promised. "She's not what you're imagining." But he never actually introduced them in person. Just brief video calls where Yasmin was friendly but reserved and the children politely cold. The civil wedding took place on February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. Yasmin said it was romantic. Samir thought it was a good sign. The ceremony was small, just the two of them and two witnesses Yasmin had arranged, friends from the store, Samir was led to believe. He wore a grey Hugo Boss suit. She wore a simple white dress, no veil, no family, no pomp. "It's perfect this way," she told him. "Just the two of us against the world. We don't need anyone else." After the ceremony, they went straight to the hotel. Samir had booked the presidential suite at the Burj Al Arab, Dubai's most luxurious hotel, the sail-shaped one jutting out over the sea. 5 stars weren't enough to classify it. It was officially the only 7-star hotel in the world. "This will be a night we'll never forget," Samir told her as they entered the suite, with its golden marble columns and panoramic view of the Persian Gulf. He was right, but not in the way he imagined. The last night. At first, everything seemed perfect. They drank champagne in the hot tub. They made love with the passion of newlyweds. They ordered room service, lobster and caviar, the most extravagant things available. Yasmin seemed radiant, but Samir noticed that she was constantly checking her phone, more than usual. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Yes, of course," she replied, but there was something in her voice, a tension he didn't recognize. Around 11 p.m., her phone rang. She looked at the screen and visibly paled. "I have to take this," she said. "It's an emergency." "Emergency? Today? On our wedding night? It's my sister. From Morocco. It'll only take a minute." She went out onto the balcony, closing the glass door behind her. Samir could see her through the glass, gesturing wildly, her face contorted into expressions he had never seen before. It didn't look like a conversation with a sister. It looked like an argument, a negotiation, a threat. When she returned 15 minutes later, she was shaking. "Yasmin, what was that?" "Nothing, just family problems. Nothing you need to worry about. We're married now. Your problems are my problems." She looked at him with a strange expression. For a moment, Samir thought she was going to tell him the truth, was going to ask for help, was going to trust him. But then she forced a smile. "It's all sorted out. Come on, let's enjoy our night." They went back to bed. But the magic was gone. Yasmin was distant, mechanical. When Samir woke up at 3 a.m., she was sitting on the balcony smoking a cigarette. He didn't know she smoked. "I can't sleep," she said when he joined her. "Too many emotions, too many changes." "Regrets?" he asked, half-jokingly. She didn't answer right away. She just stared out at the dark sea, where the lights from the yacht swayed gently. "No," she said finally. "I don't regret marrying you. You're a good man, Samir. Better than I deserve." "Don't say that." "But it's true." She turned to him, and there were tears in her eyes again. "You don't really know me. If you did, Yasmin, we all have pasts. I don't care about what came before. I only care about our future." She laughed, but it was a bitter laugh. "The future. Yes, let's see what future awaits us." Those were the last words she would say to him while she was alive. The awakening. Samir woke up at 9 a.m. with the Dubai sun streaming into the suite. He reached out to hug his wife, but found only cold sheets. The bed was empty. "Yasmin," he called, still sleepy. Silence. He got up and walked through the luxurious living room. The balcony was empty, the bathroom too. That's when he noticed something strange. Her purse was no longer on the chair where she had left it the night before. A chill ran down his spine. "Yasmin!" he called louder, checking the closet, the second bathroom, even behind the curtains, feeling ridiculous. She was nowhere to be found. He grabbed his phone, no messages. He called her, straight to voicemail. He sent messages on WhatsApp, only one checkmark, undelivered. Maybe she went out to buy something, he thought, trying to calm his growing panic. A surprise, a special breakfast, anything. But he knew, deep down, he already knew that something was terribly wrong. The call. At 11 a.m., when she still hadn't returned and her phone was still off, Samir called the front desk. "Did my wife leave this morning?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "One moment, Mr. Hoffman." A pause. "Yes, Mrs. Hoffman left the hotel at 5:47 a.m. 5:47. It was still dark, while he was asleep. "Did she say anything? Leave a message?" "No, sir. She just requested a taxi." "Where to?" "We don't have that information, sir. The taxi was called through a private app." Samir hung up, his hands shaking. He tried to think rationally. Maybe it was a family emergency. Maybe his mother or sister. But why not leave a note? Why not wake him up? At 1 p.m. he called the police. "I want to report a missing person," he told the operator. "My wife. She disappeared this morning." "How long ago, sir?" 7 hours. "Sir, an adult must be missing for at least 24 hours before—" "It's our wedding night," Samir exploded. "We got married yesterday. She left at 5 a.m. without saying anything. Something is wrong." The tone in the operator's voice changed. "I understand, sir. I'll send a patrol car to the hotel." The investigation begins. Detective Rashid Al-Mansouri arrived at the Burj Al Arab at 3 p.m. A man in his 40s, slim, with a carefully trimmed moustache and eyes that seemed to assess everything with mathematical precision. "Mr. Hoffman," he said, in impeccable English, "tell me exactly what happened." Samir told him everything. The wedding, the night, the strange phone call, Yasmin's strange behavior, her disappearance in the morning. Al-Mansouri took meticulous notes. Did she take her belongings? Her purse, yes, but her clothes are all here, her suitcase is untouched. Passport? Samir checked. Yasmin's Moroccan passport was gone. Marriage documents? They were gone too. Al-Mansouri frowned. "Mr. Hoffman, I need to ask you a delicate question. Is it possible that your wife had ulterior motives when she married you?" "What do you mean?" "Residence visa, citizenship, money. Dubai is full of—" "No," Samir cut him off, but his voice sounded less convincing than he intended. "She's not like that. We love each other." "Then help me find her. I need everything you know about her. Family, friends, address, workplace." It was then, at that moment, that Samir realized something frightening. He knew very little about the woman he had married. The first revelations. Al-Mansouri went to the store where Yasmin supposedly worked. He returned 2 hours later with a somber expression. "Mr. Hoffman, the store manager says Yasmin stopped working there 3 months ago. She resigned in November." "That's impossible. I spoke to her during her working hours." "Where did she say she was?" Samir felt the world spinning. "At the store. She always said she was at the store." "The address she gave you? The apartment in Deira where she said she lived with other girls?" "Yes." "It doesn't exist. The building exists, but there is no record of anyone named Yasmin at that address in the last 2 years." Samir sat heavily on the bed where, just hours earlier, he had made love to his wife. His mind refused to process what he was hearing. "Then where did she live? What was she doing?" Al-Mansouri hesitated. "That's what we need to find out. But Mr. Hoffman—" He paused significantly. "There's something else." "What?" "Yasmin is not her real name." "What do you mean it's not her real name?" Samir felt his legs go weak. Al-Mansouri opened his tablet, showing scanned documents. The passport she used to marry you is authentic, issued by the Moroccan government. But when we checked with Interpol, he swiped his finger across the screen, we found this. It was a photo of Yasmin, but the name underneath read Amira Khalil. She has at least 3 known identities, the detective continued. Amira Khalil, Yasmin Benali, and Layla Mansour, all with legitimate Moroccan passports, but with different dates of birth. In this one she is 22, in this other one 25, and in this last one 28. Samir stared at the photos. It was her, always her. But at the same time it was like looking at a stranger. How is that possible? Corruption, connections, money. In Morocco, if you know the right people, you can buy multiple identities. Al-Mansouri closed the tablet. The question is, why would she need 3? The secret apartment. Through hotel security cameras and tracking her last credit card use, the police were able to figure out where Yasmin really lived. Not in Deira, but in an inconspicuous building in Bur Dubai, an area known for its transient population. Al-Mansouri and Samir arrived at the apartment at 6 p.m. The detective used a court order to convince the landlord to open the door. What they found there destroyed any illusions Samir still had. The apartment was small, but it wasn't the space of a young working woman saving money. It was the office of a professional operation. There were 3 laptops, 5 cell phones, stacks of credit cards with different names, and photos, dozens of printed photos pinned to a corkboard on the wall. Samir approached, feeling increasingly nauseous. They were photos of men, older men, well-dressed, clearly Westerners. There were notes next to each photo in Arabic. "What do they say?" he asked, pointing to the notes. Al-Mansouri read them, his expression growing increasingly somber. This one, German, 52, divorced, 2 children, works in oil, estimated net worth $2 million. This other one, French, 48, widower, no children, CEO, net worth $5 million. He paused, looking at Samir with something resembling pity. "Mr. Hoffman, you are on this board." Samir felt the floor disappear beneath his feet. There he was, a photo Yasmin had casually taken at one of their dinners. Next to it, in her own handwriting, Samir Hoffman, German, 45, divorced, 2 children, tech consultant, net worth, rescue 3 million, vulnerable, lonely, priority target. "Priority target," he whispered. "I was just a target." The network. But there was more. Much more. On one of the laptops, the police found email correspondence, conversations in Arabic, French, and English. Al-Mansouri called in a translator for the Arabic parts, and what they discovered was shocking. Yasmin, or Amira, or Layla, whoever she really was part of an organized network. Young Moroccan women who came to Dubai specifically to find vulnerable Western men. The goal was always the same: marriage, European citizenship, access to bank accounts. But in Yasmin's emails, there was something different, something more sinister. "She repeatedly mentions the last job," said the translator, frowning, "and there are references to not making the same mistakes. And here she says, this time there will be no witnesses." "Witnesses to what?" Samir asked, even though part of him didn't want to know the answer. Al-Mansouri was at the other laptop, his face growing paler. "Mr. Hoffman, you need to see this." On the screen were news articles, French newspaper articles from 2 years earlier. "French businessman found dead in Agadir, Moroccan wife missing." The photo of the man was one of those on the corkboard, and the photo of the missing wife was Yasmin, with different hair under the name Layla Mansour, but unmistakably her. "He died of poisoning," Al-Mansouri read. "Initially considered a natural death. heart attack. But the autopsy revealed digitalis, a slow-acting poison derived from plants. When the police went to look for the wife for questioning, she had disappeared, along with 800,000 euros from the couple's joint account. Samir couldn't breathe. She killed this man? It was never proven. The case is still open. But yes, she is the prime suspect. Al-Mansouri continued searching. And there's more. A case in Spain a year earlier. Same pattern. Older man, quick marriage, sudden death, missing wife. How many? Samir whispered. How many men? That we know of? 3 confirmed cases of suspicious death. 5 more of matrimonial fraud without fatalities, but there may be others that were never reported. The terrible question. Samir looked around the apartment, this museum of lies and manipulation. He saw his own photo on the board marked priority target. He remembered the champagne Yasmin had insisted he drink on their wedding night, the vitamin capsules she always encouraged him to take, the $2 million life insurance policy she had casually suggested he take out to protect his children. "Detective," he said, his voice trembling, "I should be dead, shouldn't I?" Al-Mansouri didn't answer right away. He didn't need to. The answer was written on his face. "What changed?" Samir continued. "Why did she run away instead of completing the plan?" "That," said Al-Mansouri, "is the question we need to answer, and we need to answer it quickly." The answer came from where they least expected it. One of the 5 cell phones found in the apartment began to ring at 8 p.m. that same night. Al-Mansouri and his technical team had already managed to unlock the device. The number was international, Moroccan prefix. "Answer it," Al-Mansouri ordered the technician, activating the recorder, a rough male voice speaking in Arabic. The translator listened intently, his eyes widening with every word. "He's asking if the job is done," whispered the translator. "He wants to know if she completed the mission." Al-Mansouri signaled for the technician to hang up. "We have enough. Trace that number." 15 minutes later, they had a name, Karim Khalil, and a connection, older brother of Amira Khalil, Yasmin's real name. The story she had told Samir about running away from her oppressive family? A lie. Not only did her family know where she was, they were integral to the operation. The real story. Through Interpol and contacts with the Moroccan police, the real story of Yasmin, Amira, began to emerge. And it was much darker than Samir could have imagined. Amira grew up in Casablanca, but not in a typical traditional family. Her father, Rashid Khalil, had been arrested for fraud in 2015. Her 3 older brothers had extensive criminal records: extortion, document forgery, human trafficking. It was a criminal family, Al-Mansouri explained, and Amira was their secret weapon. Beautiful, intelligent, fluent in 4 languages. They trained her from her teens. The pattern was always the same. Amira would travel to tourist destinations, Dubai, Barcelona, Marrakech, using one of her multiple identities. She would meet older Western men, usually recently divorced or widowed, vulnerable, lonely, wealthy. She would seduce them, marry them quickly, and then it depended. Sometimes it was just theft, access to bank accounts, transfers, sudden disappearance. But in at least 3 known cases, the men had died. "The poison was digitalis," explained the medical examiner consulted by the police, "derived from the foxglove plant. It causes symptoms similar to a heart attack. In older men, it easily passes for natural death unless a full autopsy is performed." Why did she run away? But that didn't explain why Amira had run away without completing the plan. Samir was alive, healthy. She could have easily poisoned the champagne. Why abandon everything? The answer came from her phone, the call she had answered on the balcony during her wedding night. The technical team managed to recover the audio of the call through the telephone operator. It was Karim, her brother, and the conversation was explosive. "You need to finish this today," he said in Arabic. "We can't wait any longer. The French police are close. They've connected you to the Dubois case." I know, Amira replied, her voice tense. "But he hasn't signed the transfers yet. I need more time." "There's no more time. Do it tonight. Use the poison. Make it look like he had a heart attack during sex. A widowed spouse inherits everything. You leave the country tomorrow." There was a long pause. When Amira spoke again, her voice was different, smaller, almost scared. "What if I don't want to do it?" "What?" Karim exploded. "Don't be stupid. We've done this before." "But he's different. He's kind to me, really." "Jesus Christ, are you in love?" Karim laughed cruelly. "With the brand. You're pathetic, Amira. He's just another one. Finish the job, or I'll come over there and finish it for you, and it won't be gentle." The call ended there. The transformation. Samir listened to the recording 3 times, unable to process what he was hearing. There was fear in her voice, genuine fear, but there was also something else, hesitation, conflict. "She was considering not killing me," he said, his voice incredulous. "Why?" Al-Mansouri sighed. "Mr. Hoffman, you need to understand. This woman was raised by criminals. She was trained from childhood to do this. There is no redemption in this story." "But she ran away," Samir insisted. "She chose to run away instead of killing me. That has to mean something. It means she was afraid of her brother. It means she realized the police were closing in. It means self-preservation. It doesn't mean she cared about you." But Samir wasn't so sure. He remembered the tears on the balcony, the words, "You're a good man, better than I deserve." The way she had looked at him, as if she wanted to confess everything. "Where is she now?" he asked. "We don't know. Airport cameras show she took a flight to Casablanca at 7 a.m. But after that, she disappeared, probably using another identity." "And her brother?" Al-Mansouri hesitated. "The Moroccan police went to his last known address this afternoon." "And?" "It was empty, but there were signs of a struggle. Blood on the floor. A lot of blood." Samir felt a chill. "Do you think she... we don't know, but there's something else you need to know." Al-Mansouri showed him his phone. "We received this an hour ago. It's from the Casablanca police." It was a surveillance photo from a hospital. It showed a woman entering the emergency room, covered in blood. Yasmin. Amira. Or whoever she was. "She's alive," Al-Mansouri said, "but injured, and now she's in the custody of the Moroccan police." Chapter 5. Confessions in the Desert. Estimated duration: 5 minutes, the flight to Casablanca. Against all of Al-Mansouri's advice, Samir took the first flight to Casablanca. He needed to see her. He needed to hear from her what was true and what was a lie. "You owe her nothing," Al-Mansouri had said. "She planned to murder you." "But she didn't," Samir replied, "and I need to know why." The Moroccan police were cautious, but they allowed him to visit her. Amira was in a hospital detention cell under 24-hour surveillance. She had been stabbed 3 times, twice in the abdomen, once in the shoulder. Serious injuries, but not fatal. 5 minutes, said Inspector Youssef Benani, a middle-aged man with tired eyes. "And don't touch her. She's extremely dangerous." The meeting. When Samir entered the room, Amira was sitting in a chair, her hands handcuffed to the table. She was wearing light blue hospital clothes, and her left arm was immobilized. Her face was thinner, pale, with deep dark circles under her eyes. When she saw him, her tears began to fall immediately. "Samir," she whispered, "you shouldn't have come." "Why did you run away?" he asked directly, sitting down across the table. "Why didn't you kill me as you planned?" She closed her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Because I couldn't. I tried to convince myself for months that you were just another one. Another rich, stupid man who deserved to be robbed. But you..." Her voice broke. You were kind to me, really kind, without expecting anything in return. So it was all a lie? Every word? Every moment? At first, yes. She stared at him. You were a target. My brother chose you. He calculated your wealth, your vulnerability, your patterns. I was trained to make you fall in love. And it worked, Samir said bitterly. But something changed. She leaned forward. I don't know when exactly. Maybe when you learned about my fake past and didn't judge me. Maybe when you cried talking about your children. Maybe when you held my hand and said I deserved to be happy. She shook her head. I started to believe my own lies. I started to wish they were true. The truth about the escape. On our wedding night, Amira continued, my brother Karim called. He said the French police had connected my name to the Dubois case. I had hours, maybe a day, before I would be arrested. He ordered me to kill you immediately and disappear. And you refused. I said I couldn't do that to you, that you were different. She laughed bitterly. He called me weak, an idiot. He said if I didn't finish the job, he would come and do it for me, and kill you anyway to cover his tracks. Samir felt his blood run cold. So you ran away to protect me? I ran away to protect both of us. I thought if I disappeared quickly, he wouldn't have time to get to Dubai. You'd be safe. She looked at her handcuffed hands. But he followed me to Casablanca. He found me at a friend's apartment. We fought. He had a knife. Did you kill him? Amira was silent for a long moment. Self-defense. He said he would kill you, kill me, clean up the mess I had created. I had no choice. The other victims. What about the other men? Samir asked, his voice cold. Jean-Claude Dubois in France, Antonio Marquez in Spain. Were they different too? Amira lowered her head, unable to look at him. No, I did what my family told me to do. The poison in the wine, the weight, the escape with the money. Her voice was almost inaudible. I was a monster, Samir. I was raised to be a monster. Were, he asked, or are you still? I don't know. She finally looked at him. I only know that when I looked at you, sleeping on our wedding night, with the bottle of digitalis in my bag, ready to put it in your breakfast, I couldn't do it. For the first time in my life, I couldn't do what I was supposed to do. Samir wanted to believe her. He desperately wanted to believe that there was something real between them, that she had changed, that love could redeem even someone like her. But the photos of the other men were etched in his mind, men who had also trusted her, who had also fallen in love, and who were now dead. The farewell. What will happen to you? Samir asked. Prison? Probably life. France has already requested extradition for the Dubois case. Spain, too. Plus the attempted murder here in Morocco. My brother. She took a deep breath. My life is over, Samir. It was over even before you walked into that store in Dubai. You could have chosen differently, he said, standing up. At any moment, you could have chosen to stop. I know, and I did. Too late, but I did. She looked at him with desperate intensity. Do you believe that in the end I chose you over the money, over my family? Samir was silent for a long moment. Then he said the only truth he knew. I want to believe it, but I don't know if I can. He turned to leave. Samir, she called, I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better than me. He stopped at the door without turning around. Yes, I did. And then he left, leaving her behind. The woman he had loved. The woman who had planned to kill him. The woman who maybe, just maybe, had found something human in the end. But it was too late for all of them. Amira Khalil was sentenced to 25 years in prison for self-defense homicide, her brother Karim, plus 2 life sentences from France and Spain for premeditated murder. Extradition would be decided after she served her Moroccan sentence. Samir watched the verdict via video conference from Munich. When her eyes met the camera for a brief second, he saw something that haunted him. It wasn't remorse. It was relief. As if prison was the freedom she never had. Reconstruction. Back in Munich, Samir spent months in therapy. His children, Lucas and Emma, were shocked when they learned the truth. Emma cried for days. Lucas was furious. "How could you be so stupid, Dad?" he shouted. "A 22-year-old girl falls in love with you out of nowhere. Obviously it was a scam." But over time, anger gave way to understanding. Samir wasn't stupid. He was human, lonely, vulnerable, exactly what she was looking for. "She was professional," said the therapist. "She studied you. She knew exactly which buttons to push. It wasn't your fault that you fell in love with the persona she created." But that didn't make the pain any less. The letter. In October, Samir received a letter from prison. He hesitated for 3 days before opening it. "Samir, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I killed 2 innocent men out of greed. I planned to kill you, but I want you to know that last night, when you were asleep, I held your hand and cried. Because for the first time, I understood what I had destroyed. Not money, not security, but the possibility of real love. You showed me who I could have been, in a different life, with different choices. It wasn't a complete lie. There was truth mixed with manipulation, and that truth saved me from becoming completely monstrous. Thank you for that. Live well. Love again. Just be more careful. A." Samir burned the letter, but he kept the ashes. A new beginning, December 2024. Christmas market in Munich. Samir was with Lucas and Emma, drinking hot glühwein, laughing at something silly Emma said. For the first time in months, he felt light. A woman bumped into him. "Sorry," she said in German, smiling. She was about 40 years old, with grey hair and kind eyes. "No problem," Samir replied. She hesitated. "Would you like to have coffee sometime?" Lucas and Emma exchanged glances, immediately tense. Samir saw the fear in his children's eyes. He smiled at the woman. "Thank you, but I'm not ready yet." She nodded understandingly and walked away. "Are you going to be okay, Dad?" Emma asked quietly. Samir looked at his children, at the brightly lit market, at the life he had almost lost. "Yes," he said. "Eventually I'll be okay." And for the first time, he believed it. Epilogue. At Casablanca Central Prison, Amira Khalil shared a cell with 5 other women. She taught French and English to the illiterate inmates. She helped them write letters to their families. It wasn't redemption. It never would be, but it was something, a small piece of humanity regained. At night, she thought about Samir, about the man she almost killed, about the man who saw her as a person, not a tool. And she wondered if she had met him 10 years earlier, would it have been different? She would never know. Some questions have no answers, only consequences.